All right, welcome back, everybody. We're here at Team Kraken Gym. I know I said I was going to do something real special because of the 100K video, but I'm doing that next video because I'm going on holidays, because, you know, one holiday a year isn't enough. So today we're going to go through the Sasae, and before all you MMA experts come out, this is how a Buhurt fighter does a Sasae. This is not textbook judo Sasae. This is how we do Sasae, because in armor it's completely different. Your weight's up the top, you got steel all over your body. This is how we do it, so everyone relax. Before we go on to today's video, let's go on to today's sponsors, which I don't have any, so so that'll be that. It'll probably be my company. It is my Buhurt fitness programming for Buhurt fighters and non-Buhurt fighters. You got your strength, you got your endurance, you got your cardio. It's all in there. 52 weeks of programming, $10.60 a week. Link down below. So today we got a real treat, an absolute treat. So we got Jake Taylor, captain of Team Kraken, coming in to go through. He's going to teach us how he teaches Sasae to Team Kraken classes, beginners, advanced, whatever. And then I'll just throw in my two bob because I should probably know things as well. So here is Jacob, or as his mother calls him, the Jakester.
Right. Well, I got to put it here. Yeah. Hello, we are doing Sasae. Now, there's a longer name for Sasae, but much like Osoto, no one really says that. It starts with T, no idea for the rest of it. So there's many ways of doing Sasae. I'm going to show one, and I'll probably allude to a few others. This is the way that I was taught Sasae and how I try and do it. Sasae is one of those throws that you use with movement, right? People can just power through it. That's possible. Plenty of people can. But a lot of the time, if you just try and statically do this, your opponent's going to be aware of what you're doing and able to resist or post off. So there are certain grips you can do to stop that. But reminder, we normally do this with momentum, with movement of our opponents, not necessarily us. We're not going to run into someone and do it. What we want to start off with is whichever side you are, whichever dominant side you are. So I'm right side dominant. I'm going to have right side leg forward, right arm forward, right? So what we want to do first off is when we start out, we start even feet. I'm going to burp. We start with even feet. Then what we want to do for our first step is step outside of our opponent's, let's say, box, lines, if you will. And we do that by stepping out and around with our foot facing our opponent. Out and around to the outside of our opponent. The reason why we want to point out our foot at our opponent is it helps us unlock our hips. If we have a straight foot facing them, we're going to find it difficult to turn backwards, boop, and not allow us to carry our opponent through. So when we make our first step, we step outside of our opponent's line. We point our foot at the ball of their foot. That's where your toes connect in, right? So that's our first step. We step out and around and we open up. Nice and easy. Out and around, open up. Then next, what we want to do, this might be better without my shin pad on. When we're stepping around with that stepping around and aiming our foot at the ball of our opponent's foot, we want to maintain contact with the ground, generally with the ball of our foot, here, boom, not our heel. As soon as our foot touches in two places, I have very high arches, so I can say two places. If you have flat feet, it's going to be along the whole foot. As we start touching down with that heel, rotation becomes a lot harder. So what we want to do is, as we stab and step through, very good, we want to keep the ball of our foot on the ground. That allows us to spin, and it just allows us to open up a little bit more. After we've stepped outside of our opponent's line, pointed our foot, and allowed ourselves to turn, boom, boom, the next step is we want to carry through our other leg. Now, without stepping forward and turning, the other leg lifts up. We generally want it to have about 45-degree angle on our foot, and we want to slide it on top of our opponent's foot and into where the foot meets the ankle. The idea here is, one, we capture the foot as the foot's in motion, so we scoop it through and capture. Two, we're after stapling their foot to the ground. And the easiest way to do that is just that little crux where your foot meets your leg, right where your ankle is. So, together, we step out and around, we bring our other foot through, and we slide it into that nice little crevice there. Now, that's legs. Nice and easy, right? Step out and around, lift, slide, capture. Arms. Generally, when we're going to be doing this, we want underneath, inside their armpits. So, an underhook. Again, if you're doing it statically, it's going to feel a lot better if you're doing an underhook because it allows you to manipulate your opponent a lot easier. If you start getting their head, they can start slipping out. It's not as grippy. We want underhook to practice this. Now, we're getting our underhook with our dominant side leg. So the step that's stepping out and around and in. So now what we do is we practice that movement. We get underhook as we step out and around. Underhook, out and around. Boom. Boom. You can start practicing with your other leg. Step out and around, underhook, slide. Out and around, underhook, slide. Easy peasy. Last thing, our other hand, we want to get wrist. Doop, doop, doop. This allows us to pull. Now, when we pull, we can just pull it across. A lot of the time, we're going to be doing this while someone's running at us or providing momentum into us. So we can just pull it across. The, let's say, correct way of doing it, if you've got wrist, is you pull up, out, and you look at the time, right? So you look at the time on your watch. So from here, I step out and around, and I look at the time on my watch. Step out and around, and I look at the time just like that. Picking him up, pew. That allows us to really stretch them out over that foot, carrying their point of balance further over, compromising it, having them die. Once you've got the throwdown pat, it's very important to get the throwdown pat. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. One of the things that I would always suggest when we're doing this is wear shin pads. A lot of the time, because of how your balance gets manipulated in this throw, as you turn around like this and someone's coming into you, they might start applying pressure on your chest. What that does is has your leg start to rise up, the one that you're trying to trap with. So as we go through here, you might start rising up, boop, like that. Generally what happens then is we have shin on shin or shin on knee, and that causes some very serious ouchies from time to time. Shin pads, pretty important for this one. So, what we do now that we've learnt the throw, we've gone over the steps, we want to add movement into it. Easiest way to add movement into this is not Sam just runs at me and I do it. What we want to do is we want to practice it from the clinch. I'm going to get an underhook, I'm going to get wrist, and what we want to do is we want to start moving around, and when Sam decides to push on me, I do a Sasae, right? So this way we start to make it much more instinctual, much more muscle memory for how we do the throw. So underhook, wrist, we start pushing, I start pushing him, he starts pushing back and through. But at times what you can do is you don't feel like doing it or the person can up the pressure. So we can sit here grappling for a very long time, move. Then Sam finally gives it to me as I carry through. And that's an example of Sam hitting my shin. So we've now done it with that movement inside the clinch. The last, I would say 2 parts because one of them's kind of fun, but it is actually a real life scenario. The last 2 parts are when you don't have contact and someone's running at you. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to stand back here, Sam's going to run at me, I'm going to practice getting this underhook and capture, right? That part is important because a lot of people will slip and go for the head. You've got to make sure Sam's being very nice where he's lifting up his arms and presenting a real nice good armpit there for an underhook. But you've just got to make sure that you're aiming right because not everyone is going to be like this. Some people will have their arms by their side like that. And that's much more difficult. You can't just slot it in there. You have to really aim it through to get that Sasae. Like I said, there was 2 parts. That's one. The other part is where you start facing away from your opponent. You start facing away from your opponent, you side on, you're back facing them. And the reason why we do that is because everyone should practice call-outs as a team to say, Sam behind, or Jake behind. And so when we hear that, we turn around and realize, right? So if we get used to turning around and then sasaeing at the same time, we'll have that in our kit somewhat. You'd be surprised when it happens. It happened to me in Finland, yeah, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. It was just instinctual boom. It makes me look like a badass. I am not. But
on video, actually, I'll play right now.
but it was just one of those things that, because I've practiced it, it just came out.
So now we've had the master teach his explanation. So if you are a simpleton like myself, here's me teaching the Sasae for the simpletons. Come up to our partner, exactly like Jake said, come up here. Now, what I like to practice my Sasae is I like to move them. So I get it, instead of Jake always go to underhook, I always go to underhook apart from my Sasaes. I grab one hand, and the head that I decided that I grabbed, the head tie, I do the exact same step that Jake said, so crescent stepping out. But when I crescent step out, I'm pulling down on the neck, and then I'm shooting out that leg. And instead of just kicking, I'm doing exactly what Jake said. I'm placing my ball of the foot there, and I'm almost hopping to leave that there as long as I can to trip them. So come in, I grab the head, I crescent step, and I place it. I'm here, because we learnt every bit of that throw, and this is just a little thing to help people out. As a little dance move here, come in, crescent step out, push through, like that. And as a little drill you could do, what's the drill we call training that you do by yourself?
Uchikomi.
Uchikomi. It's a dance move. Here we go. I'm standing to that, I'm crescent stepping to the side, and I'm doing like Jake said, I'm looking at the time of the watch, or I'm pulling down here, boom, boom, and I'm stepping by myself. The real reason why you like the Uchikomi, what I like the Uchikomi for, because you do it in the mirror, boom, boom. And yes, I might be doing the exact technique, but it gets my hips or my foot shooting out, and I'm holding it for as long as I can. Boom, boom, boom. And that is a simpleton explanation of a Sasae. That actually really hurt. Anyway, thanks for watching. Next video will be 100 1-minute rounds with the boys in armor for the 100K special. Jake, you down for that?
I'm down for it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to be able to do it.
I probably won't be able to do it, but that is the goal. 1 minute, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, 100 rounds. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and make sure you stay safe. You can't stay safe, stay deadly, and everyone say hello to Nathan. Wait.
Subscribe.
Say
Ring that bell. Ring that bell.
Are you single?
I may be single. Looking for cute single ladies.
Do your finger thing that Marco does.
Hit the bell as well.
Pew. Doop, doop, doop. doop, doop, doop.